guys like podcasts with Garbro? Well, you're stuck
Do
with
you
that.
guys like Garbro, who's rolling on 3 painkillers and muscle relaxers? Yes, you do.
Yeah, so today I think it's probably going to we got a thread here, but honestly I think we're going to bounce about it quite a bit. How would you do military sci-fi interesting? It's a very broad topic, and we were talking about this just a few seconds ago. Well, what way do you want to do this? Do you want to do this as in near future, like the next 100 years, or do you want to have it more like a Halo where like space travel is going on, or one of the ones that I think a lot of people don't like, or maybe it's not that they don't like it, but I think it was done too simply. I really enjoyed, what was the one? Was it Hellgast? I kind of like that, like the Civil War sort of thing. Like, if 2 different groups of humans go off and live in like different planets, and then over time, like, they evolve slowly, to create not new humans per se. I suppose that's very. What was that book called? All Tomorrow or Next Tomorrow? The one where humans get enslaved by the Q or the Quay, and they get like
Q.
Yeah, well, not Q from Star Trek, but like they get like mutated.
I know, that's what I thought of immediately.
Yeah, but anyway, before we jump into all that, I just want to say. I got a Kickstarter and Paper Mini book. I don't really want to go into too much detail about what it is or what it's all about, because we're going to do a video actually explaining it, and I don't know exactly when it's going to be going live. I am going to be
source.
I can link you the free stuff that I'm giving away for
source.
Tempo, and we can also link you the landing page. The first 100 books are 25% off, and the reason why we're doing that is because it means we can guarantee it to the printers, and because this book is so experimental, I have no idea if you guys are going to be interested in it at all. I've really got nothing else to say about it just yet, so I suppose we'll just jump in. What do you want to do, Garbu? Do you want to really go into this? Okay,
sure.
Futuristic weapons. Where do you think it's going? Like, one thing that we've seen an awful lot in, especially like in can you talk about that? Like, Ukraine. I suppose you can. It's been going on for ages now.
Sure. Who the fuck cares? My God, like Ukraine's been going on for the last fucking 8 years. It seems like it's been a Cold War, then a hot war, then a Cold War, now it's a hot war again. Just talk about it, because in this war alone, you have World War I machine guns still being used. So you have those fucking what are they called? Those machine guns on those fucking big ass wheels with like an ACOG attached to it or something with duct tape. Like
yeah,
like.
I think one of the most interesting ones for me was how poorly tanks performed, especially up against armies that can actually deal with tanks. You know what I mean? If you give people anti-tank weapons. Or, however, I've seen a lot of people complain like, well, actually, the Russians haven't been using them very well. You know what I mean? It's like, right, okay, maybe that could be the case. But one of the biggest ones that I think there isn't really a weapon against it yet that's really effective would be, you've seen them videos of like, the drones dropping grenades on people?
Yeah, I've seen that. Well,
yeah.
How have you not seen a bit of a fucking T-series going full Rocket Man mode, or some dude in a trench getting blown up by a drone grenade? Like, literally, we can go on Twitter right now and watch the effectiveness of armor and infantry in static positions. And I think this, this is not on subject whatsoever, but it's kind of showing how static combat, trench warfare just doesn't fucking work. Because you can dig your hole good and deep until someone flies a suicide drone down your fucking trench line like a goddamn X-wing and a Death Star bullshit going on, and blows your ass up.
Literally. Barbara, why did you give the Star Wars? This is just like Harry Potter.
Bro, like, you laugh. There are guys doing the trench run in a literal trench.
Yeah, they are.
And there's some dude like reading a play like, it just explodes. Like,
yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's not far off that, but do you what
we're the rebels and they're Vader.
Do you think what weapons could you possibly use against these? Because at the moment I'm not seeing any.
Birdshot and a shotgun. You need an automatic high capacity shotgun, like a big ass Mossberg with the tube, or the Tavor rotary shotgun. You need a shotgun to go boom 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 and lace the sky with birdshot, probably pheasant shot, and literally cripple those drones when you see them. Now, there may not be many of those out there who are aware how hard it is to see a fucking drone. When you see it,
that's the biggest
it's literally this little black blur going and it's racing towards you. So you have very little time to pull out your shotgun, put the bead on target, and go bam, 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 bam before that little like UAV of doom comes at you. And for the most part, I mean, when you think about it, the UAV is a rogue weapon where you spot your target from a mile out, and he's kind of like kind of like slowly hovering your way along the treetops. Like, when you think about it, more or less, UAVs are the quintessential technological rogue, where you have one shot to kill a thing. You gotta be as sneaky as possible because you're very light and very easy to destroy. Because you see videos of these drones getting clapped by this fucking hunting shotgun, and at the same time, you know, Russia's dumb as shit with what they have. Like, what you need like skeet shooters and clay shooters.
I will say one
thing: in a giant hat chair. Yeah.
You need to remember the operators. These people have been living off kind of
I know.
for a long time. You know, you're dealing with pro gamers here. You know what I mean? Is this the rise of the pro gamer? You know, will we see in time? Maybe.
It's just like Rainbow Six Siege.
No, but you know what? It's one of those ones where you can't. It's kind of like you know, they've been doing this forever. Like Ender's Game, for instance. You know, will we see a point where it's like, will there be drone operators on Twitch? Like,
a VTuber drone operator.
Like, unironically, would you watch it? Probably, yeah.
Fuck
like,
yeah, I would, dude.
I would watch a drone operator for a live stream. You know, like that's not.
I would watch some cute little cackle go LOL poggers and nail a fucking T-Series tank with a fucking suicide drone.
Like, tell me that. Like, you know, is it possible? Now, the only thing that puts me like why I think it won't happen is just because, like, you know, the nanny state where it's like, no, you're not allowed to make that entertainment. Even though I would totally watch blood sports if like people were down for it. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
So let's go a side tangent for us both, but I would completely be fine with modern gladiatorial battles because them prisons are gonna get real empty real fast.
I mean, like, if people want to do it, it's up to them if they want to do it. Like, you know, if people want to watch it, like, you know, as long as no one's being forced into it, I don't see the biggest.
I think that modern society could benefit from seeing what actual violence and bloodshed looks like, because I mean, there are people here who say the most off the collar shit because they know they won't get their fucking tits slapped out in public.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's very true.
In the Midwest, you'll still get your shit rocked for being a fucking prick in public, but like in the big cities, not so much. I think if humans could see what actual carnage would look like, to be a bit more
nicer to each other online, maybe.
Yeah,
just nicer. I would agree with that. So let's go for a few things. So
anyway,
weaponry. Do you think, like,
drones?
Dealing with drones, you just going for the old shotolino? Do you think we're ever going to get like smart bullets per se? Do you think we're ever going to get?
Here's the thing about that. Because I was thinking about that for a while, and I think about this stuff a lot. Like in the shower, water pouring over my head, pretending I'm a rhino in a Serengeti in the first rain. That's what I think of. And I'm pretty sure that the cased cartridge, whatever it may be, will be here forever. Because for the most part, sure we could get plasma weapons or have some kind of like goober magnetic rail gun. But the thing is, with a regular rifle, or actually, hold on. So with a plasma weapon or something else you're gonna have, you know, in life, there's gonna be probably a battery charge and all that. Yeah. But with a regular pistol, all you need is a cartridge, a pokey thing, and a tube. And no matter what you do, you're going to have a weapon that can kill some. And it's very hard to replace such a simple concept.
Yeah.
There's no battery. There's no power source. There's no power pack. It's not a las gun. All you need is a copper, steel, aluminum, or even wood cartridge or plastic cartridge with a lead ball of fuck you and whatever caliber you want. You can kill anything with it. Like, these are such a hard thing to replace.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is, I think it would be down to cost, and if it is
down to cost,
I would argue it is completely down to cost. And then the other thing is, how effective is it? You know,
if it's down to cost, the gun's never going away. You got Brazilians making 1911s in the fucking jungle with like rocks and stones and.
Yeah, that's true. Have you ever seen them Chinese knockoffs? Like the ones from like the 1920s, where like they were putting on stuff. It was very clear that these like Chinese what would be I wouldn't call them craftsmen per se, but they definitely slaves probably, yeah, that would be a better way to put them. They definitely did not understand the workings of guns at all, and they just like seen a couple of like stuff. Yeah, let's just like copy that, but there's just some stuff that they did where it's clear that they had no idea why they were doing it or what they put on. It's really weird.
They're just aping things, and like I get that progress is good. You want plasma weapons for penetrating armor, because basically a plasma weapon is basically a fucking shape charge when you think about it. It's gonna super hot hit forms of vacuum and fire, that kind of shit.
I think it's to do with like there's two things that always happen. Like, you know, what's better? Is the offense better or the offense better? Ice cream man, go away. Why do they always come whenever I'm recording? What is it? Can you hear them?
They're calling the autists.
Yeah, it's like, come on, go get some ice cream.
Come get your button pops, you fucking autist. Yeah.
But no, like, you know, so like, you know, you go through different periods of time where the defense is better than the offense and all that. Like, you know, look at castles, sieges, most of the Middle Ages, defense is so much better than the offense. Then you hit like, you know, like again, like, you know, you do that with like Napoleonic era where it turns more into the offense, and then
Star Force.
Yeah, exactly, Star Force, all that type of stuff. Then it goes back to like, you know, World War I, where the defense is just so much better than the offense, and like, you know, you can even see today that, like, you know, to break enemy lines, you just need to use enough force, and we definitely have enough force. It doesn't
basically
matter.
Find a bigger hammer.
Yeah, like, you know, it doesn't, like, you know, like if you can destroy, like, you know, bunkers that are designed to like withstand God knows what, you know what I mean? They meant to, like, you know, we'll live in this fort for 1,000,000 years, you know what I mean? Like that sort of thing, and they were able to destroy them with enough force. You know, come on.
Well, see, that's fine, but until your enemy decides to go, hey, you know, we're going to go around this fort, because in the future, we're going to have what I like to lean towards, or what the term would be, drop pod capabilities. There's some way to drop a platoon wherever you want. And you're
paratroopers supply though.
No. See, just you have your giant fort or your base or your fob or your cop or your trench net, but it's all kind of moot shit where you can drop a whole company behind enemy lines quickly. Like paratroopers, when we're coming in, we drop for like a combat drop. It's really low. Like on a combat drop, if you're shooting deploy, you're not gonna fucking make it because you're that low to the ground. But the thing is, you still have that plane coming in, dropping you off and flying out. With a drop pod or an orbital combat pod or something of the nature, you're coming straight down.
Yeah.
You will know when it's too late, and now you have these troops just sprinting at full speed doing fucking Naruto run through your goddamn front lines. Like, it's just in my I know. In my opinion, the future is going to be mostly defined by the ways we can mobilize troops. You're worrying about guns and armor. It's how we can mobilize those troops, which is going to change immensely. It all depends on how we do it.
Yeah.
Like, they're working on fucking vertibirds and shit.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Like, here, okay, I'll give you another good one. So, one thing that I think definitely is the case is, I don't think, like, you know, like it came out the other day, wasn't it? America failed its initiative for, like, equipment or whatever for, like, the second year in a row, by a big margin or whatever. Think of it like this: do you think a draft is even possible? And if not, like, you know, I think honestly, if like you try to put a draft into almost any like Western country, you're looking for like some form of like civil war near enough. So the other thing would that be, are we going to see more Blackrock, or no, sorry, not it is Blackrock, isn't it? And like Wagner, and, you know, more organized Blackwater. Yeah, that's the one, not the investment, not the Mr. Rothschild company. Do you think we're going to see more and more of the idea of the mercenary coming back? You know, are we going to have a lot of that? Like, because again, that's something. It's very 30 years war, almost like, you know, 30 years war was all mercenaries, and like, you know, it feels like they're coming back. You know, and I think the thing is, again, like, you know, you could argue it's like the fall of Rome almost. Like, you know, what do? They rely it more heavily on foreign powers to protect them, because I mean, all they wanted to do was become YouTubers, you know what I mean? Instead, like, you know, does that make sense? Do you think, like, come on, put it like this, like, you know, if you look at like most Gen Z types, like, you know, they have a panic attack just like picking up the phone, you know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna,
to be fair, I don't think the current modern populace is great for a standing army.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's all these jokes of, like, you know, all these transsexual soldiers, and, like, mean, Stone Toss did a comic about it where the battalion took casualties before they ever deployed. You know?
Yeah, that was a funny one. Yeah.
I think that if the militaries keep failing, and I mean they are failing their recruitment goals, there's going to be like 10 or 30 rednecks who are beefed to the gills and corn-fed, like, hey, we'll take care of this problem for you. And then, like, well, you know, like you could pay to feed and yada yada one soldier who might make it through basic training, who might make it long enough into his contract and might be combat efficient, or you're going to spend half the money and just pay these 40 rednecks and their deer rifles to go and take care of this problem in Zimbabwe, wherever the fuck you're going.
Yeah, like that's a big one for me, I think.
The thing is that's always been a thing. Mercenaries have always been around, and they're getting more and more used because all these countries are missing their recruitment goals, because kids would rather go on Twitch and be a fucking, I don't know, a fucking Fortnite streamer.
What was that? There was a good green text. It was like Vietnam 2 or whatever, and like, you know, you end up getting frost on. That was a good one. I'll need to flash up on screen. I can't remember it off the top of my head. But I think that's definitely a big one. I think we're going to see a lot more specialized elite sort of mercenary groups. Again, you're not wrong. And it won't be mercenary groups. So in order to fully use the entire aspect of the soldiers that do make it through basic training into their contracts, there's going to be a higher focus on the individual soldier and the use of ingrained computerized optics into like helmet visors and shit, which is being kind of done already. I can't say where I know this from, but they already have half-face helmets with little mini computers in the back, and there are some that work off the thermals of like your body heat, but for the most part they're mostly battery powered, and they're more or less linking soldiers up to be far more efficient in a platoon size element. That way it pushes out the combat effectiveness of a single soldier to be like 20 fucking dudes. You'll have a high capacity rifle that carries about 30-40 rounds and is built into your fucking weapon suite, and that suite lays out fucking satellite imaging and thermal imaging and kind of like, you know, that bullshit game shit where it'll outline people. They have that shit now. Like, they have that, and it works extremely well. Problem is when you finally adapt that, the defense budget's gonna fucking tank. So it's currently a fight with the well, what do those fucking memers call it? The industrial military complex. Yeah, well, they were doing that. Oh, here, I've got a good one after you go for it.
Well, the fight is because, you know, they can really push out the effectiveness of a single soldier, but the cost goes way down because you only need about 4,000 standing troopers, and the rest can be on way back going through a cycling system. Like it's going to be like the Romans, because for what all this intel I've been reading, it's going to be like the Roman era, where you have the Triarii in the back with all this cool shit. Yet, like, Joe Schmo McDouglefuck the redneck is now the fucking Hastati in the very front, shooting through most of the problems. And that's how it's going to be. It's going to be a more of a focus on the specialized single soldier who can do all this crazy shit with this goddamn robot backpack suit and shit. And they're also testing out the. You know how in Alien they had those like MG42 arms that came out?
They were cool.
They're working on those now with a fucking battery pack system. So they're working towards it already. We are on the cusp of that.
I don't know. I think the other big thing is I definitely think a lot of like the automatic. Like, how's no one been talking about like do them automatic gun turrets and stuff like that? You know what I mean? Like that stuff's terrifying to me. You know. I think it's only a matter of time. Here, I'll give you a good one. It's talking about the industrial military complex. So after World War II,
military complex.
Yeah, after World War II, they're like, we're gonna have to slash budgets to no end, but we also need to be able to like if anything happens with the Russians, we still need to be able to do stuff with the Russians. So we're gonna have to slash it, but we're still gonna have to be an effective fighting force at the same time. How the fuck do you pull that off? You know what I mean? And still get votes, of course, and all that jazz. So a good one, like, you know, they were all fighting among themselves, like, you know, like the Navy and the Air Force and whatnot, and it was the Air Force pulled it off. It's like, well, you know, when it comes to World War III, the only weapon that's gonna matter is nukes, and we're the only people that can actually fire them. You know what I mean? So what are you gonna do? Boom. But then the Navy turned around and was like, well, you know, the thing is, Nukes are
actually, sweetie.
actually, you don't want to use nukes because, like, they're such a. It's so funny to see, like, in military industrial complex guys being like, nukes are like really bad, by the way. But then of course they stopped doing that once they put them on submarines and what have you, But I thought it was just really funny the way
Nuclear
they can turn
torpedoes.
Yeah, it's funny the way they can turn that around. It's like, no, trust me, you don't want to be doing that. You want to be thinking this way and that way. What do you like? So what? Another good things is like so let's go for. So we've talked a bit about weaponry. I don't know anything about plot and lore, but like when do you see? So in the future, do you think like let's say we go out, we go among the stars. How often do you think we'll see like wars between human planets per se? The problem is
all
with
the
that,
fucking time.
it's so far away. I think the biggest problem with that is how easily can you go after the planets, and what would we really be fighting over? Does that make sense? Like what is
more than
there?
likely. So I had thought about this due to a book series I have pinned out. It's going to be literally a time where there's going to be multiple planets being settled sometime in the future. However we do it, it's going to be planets who are habitable, full of resources, being inhabited. And more than likely, Earth is going to try and be the czar planet, where they're going to try, hey, you owe us taxes for all the shit you're
America
doing.
too, them.
Like basically,
America
like
too.
A colonial tax. And more than likely, there's going to be I always joke about the great emporing, where the nations of the world are united to one singular nation or country or whatever you want to call it. But regardless, there's going to be these space colonies who are going to go who are literally going to pull like Boston Harbor 2 Space Boogaloo. Like, why do we gotta pay for all this shit? You're 4,000 fucking miles away. Fuck you. Like, or like you're like a year from us. So you're gonna do shit. So I foresee things going the usual way.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Unless there is a common enemy. If there's a common enemy, we'll all stick together for the greater good, if you will. However, if there are no hot big titty space aliens out there that we can fight against,
oh God, please God, let there just be big titty space aliens for the love of God.
I know. Like, please, if God was merciful, He would give us big, thick tomboy space aliens. Anyway, but if there aren't, but say space is empty where we are, it's just planets ripe for the take. We're gonna fracture apart like a motherfucker. Why? It's just what humans do. Yeah. Because humans hate being told what to do, and if there's no united front towards something, like, hey, we gotta stay together to defeat the XYZ, they're gonna go, so tell me, am I paying you if you're over 2 years away by like space flight travel? Because last I checked, I don't owe you shit. And more likely, there's gonna be a very growing rift between all these different sects of humans, because technically, there will be humans born that are not Earth native. They may be human, but they're not native to Earth. So what do they owe Earth? Do they owe Earth, or do they owe the human race? And that's what's always causing these little fractures. Like, you can
look at America. That'd be a good example. I think, like, there's some people that migrate to America and they go the whole, like, hyper nationalistic, and there's other ones that are like, they you know what I mean? They move to America and then they're like, no, I'm X, Y, Z, I'm whatever. I don't know. I think if you're gonna migrate and like fully like move somewhere, I think you really need to embrace the identity of the country that you're moving to, personally, but fuck, that's a topic far beyond this video, I think.
Yeah, well, it's hard to speculate on something that hasn't even happened. I mean, for the most part, we're all speculating. However, I know for a fact that the good old ballistic rifle, 2 world wars, yada yada, will not go away, because it's cheap, it's effective, and it can be upscaled and downscaled to kill and take care of anything. Now, what really makes me wonder is the advancement of infantry armor, like the IBA, the IFV, the LAMSAT.
Can we please make power armor? Can we please get power armor? That's what I want.
Well, that's the thing. They are working on power armor. Like, there are armors they're working on which are all fueled and powered by a power source, which they're still trying to figure out the best way to do that. And from what I hear, they're kind of finagling with mini nuclear reactors, which is kind of fun to think about. But there are these exoskeletons they're wearing underneath the armor, which in quintessential sense is power armor. Yeah. The main issue is that the power source isn't lasting long enough for a combat operation. So we have it.
What would you say, like, what's the battery life need for something like this?
Probably at least 4 hours for a combat situation. Just at the minimum, because sometimes firefights last an hour, sometimes they last 6 days. Look at fucking Black Hawk Down and fucking Mogadishu. But the main thing they're running into is that they cannot keep this thing powered up long enough without some sketchy or inventive ways. The mini nuclear power pack does raise an eyebrow, like, Or of course, also they're working on fucking fission and all that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, does that mean are we going to get the gin? Are we going to get the shields in? Are we going to go back to melee weapons and all that jazz? I don't know. There's something about it.
That would be cool.
It would be pretty boulder, not going to lie.
Like Dune.
Yeah, please just give me gin. Like, there's something about that. I don't know. The thing is, I do see like out of all like the sci-fi sort of settings, there's a lot of stuff in gin which is definitely never going to happen. But like again, like the idea of certain houses maybe, or like the idea of different. Again, like the idea of like an all-powerful emperor per se. It's one of those ones I kind of can't help but be like, you know what? I kind of feeling it. I don't know. What would you go for out of like all the possible like sci-fi settings? What do you think's like the one that you think has the most chance of
So I'm not sure how they would do this whole shielding thing. To me, it's like it's not possible. Like, how the hell do you cover an object in an invisible barrier? But I don't know. It more than likely would be a greater sense of armor and power armor. And there may come a point where we're back to knights, where they're so
we
up
kind of
armored.
are though. Like that's what we're saying.
No. See, it'd be a point where you're so up armored that even large rounds are just too unwieldy to take care of a problem. So what do? You give a bastard a giant hammer and a shield. So we'll have these moments where we're gonna have like basically Terminators. And so try to think about like 40K, where you have guys who are guardsmen still shooting at each other, but they're gonna be these big hulking bastards who are like there to take care of the other hulking bastards across the battlefield. So we're gonna have an intercourse of range and melee as these guys are beating the dog shit out of each other in the middle of the battle line, while guys are shooting around them at each other. And I believe there will come a point where we're so good at making arms and armor that we're going to neutralize each other in terms of effectiveness. Like, well, Jeffrey, here's a dagger, go stab him in the neck. Because there's always going to be a gap in armor. And like, well, Bob, here's your goddamn broken back sacks. Go get him.
Hey guys, do you like models in your tabletop role-playing games? Because we do too. Do you like having big bitty waifus on your table? Because we do too. We got human biddies, we got lizard biddies, we got orc biddies, oni biddies, cat bussies. We've got everything you want at neckbeardia.co.uk.
Check the links down below. It helps us out a lot.
Sorry for interrupting the video. Let's get on with the story. Also, the winner of the daily giveaway is this guy. Yay! Woo!
Look, anyway, in for a chance to win, all you gotta do is like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, automatically entered in.
And to claim the prize, you just send an email to neckbeardiacontact@gmail.com. Let's go back to the video.
I do think there is going to be a point, though. I can't help but think, like, especially in the future, how many wars will be fought just from ship-to-ship combat. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's going to be a point where, like, okay, every war, no matter what, you need to be able to take ground and hold ground. You know, has there ever been a war where that doesn't matter? Like, is there any? Well, maybe like Vietnam, I suppose. Like, you could argue,
revenge wars would happen where it's not about me taking your grid, it's about me killing you off to the man.
Yeah, that's true. So I suppose you would still have like
what worries me about space warfare is that unless we're able to make somehow this shield, armor can only do so fucking much, because at some point there's gonna be a big ass fucking munitions that's gonna carve through your fucking ship. I think actually Starship Troopers showed it off the best. So like, here's this big cool ship, here's a giant ball of plasma.
Yeah,
fuck you, and it cuts through it. You know, like, I'm sure armor will work for like most munitions, but every ship's gonna have that fucking cannon on it. But at the same time, there's a lot of science behind it. Like, if a giant cannon doing recoil, you can throw yourself off in space. It's gonna cause problems.
Oh, yeah, I never thought about that.
So, like, other than on the podcast where we talked in depth about space warfare, and when you're doing the actual, like, thinking about it, like actually thinking about it, see if a ship with a big, huge fucking cannon. Well, if they all fire, it's gonna throw you sideways in space like you're a fucking man of war on the goddamn ocean, because you're going forward. then there's sideways. It's going to throw you sideways. You're going to be like literally gun drifting through space. And it's like,
have they done any tests on this? I wonder. I'm sure they have, like, you know, but is there any
cannons?
No, not actual cannons, but you know what I mean. The idea of, like, you know, shit and stuff, like, you know, what's the recoil going to affect on, like, ships and stuff, you know. It's an interesting one. I've never thought about that. Actually, that's a really good point.
Yeah. So we thought of the fact that if there's probably gonna, well, because in space there's no fucking weight, so you're gonna have these hugely up armored ships to where it's not going to do anything. You can literally up armor a ship to the point of absolute retardation because you're in fucking space. There's no goddamn weight. So what happens is, well, now it's down to the boarding parties, and you're gonna have these dudes who are gonna be either shot at or carried over to the ship. And it's gonna be the exact same thing. You're gonna be fighting either on top of or inside these ships, but trying to force your way in, because there are ways to kind of bore a little hole through armor. Like we surmise there's gonna be a way, like basically a boarding torpedo, where basically you're gonna fire a high-powered laser to melt through, because in space you can have that kind of shit. You can have these high-powered lasers. And you're basically gonna bore a hole through the armor and have your guys fucking jump inside and start fucking with shit.
Yeah.
Because more than likely, of course, this is all just our thinking. More than likely, you're gonna be boring a hole, and they're gonna shut those gates down to avoid decompression.
But why would you want to board enemy ships?
Take it.
I suppose that's true. Like, you know, how valuable would they be? Again, like, you know, how often can you even repair your ships? You know.
Well, the thing is, how many ships can you make? How many of these high-power spaceships can a single world produce?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that's why we're thinking about, like, do you really want to waste an entire fucking spaceship? Now, also, this brings up the fact of space salvage, but that's a whole other discussion.
Oh, I'll give you a good one. Do you ever remember that movie, Master and Commander?
Oh yeah, of course.
Can we just recreate that, but in space?
Like broadsides? I mean, probably.
Like,
yeah.
Well, no, just like recreate that movie, but like give it like
in space.
Yeah, like give it like the Alien movie, like make it look like the Alien movies. You know what I mean? Like just give it that paint job and just recreate it in space, and I'd be so happy with that. I'd be down for that.
And I'm pretty sure your fans know how much of a retard I am. I overthink things. And it'd be like you would cause this hole to get in, and then of course they would probably close down bulkheads to keep the ship from, you know, getting all the air sucked out of it. And then so you have all your troops staged in this section of the ship, and then you fucking blow those doors with your suit still on and rush in, or you try and seal the hole up with some other way, or you throw up a fucking whatever the hell, and then you start your boarding action. Which the thing is, if you're in a ship and you use weapons, it's going to be really hard to not blow holes through walls and shit. So in my opinion, space boarding action in the future will be a cutlass and rapier kind of fucking situation, because it's safer.
Yeah, it makes sense. It does make sense to be doing that, if I'll be honest with you. Because again, you know, you're dealing with so many wall stuff, use pressure and all that, you're all done for. It's an interest. It's a really interesting, just like thinking about it just from the, what would be the correct term? Like, you know, the physics at play is so much different than, you know, what we've ever really experienced, you know? And again, like, you know, like you can always go for like, well, different planets have different gravities and therefore they're going to react differently to certain. Like, you know what? Actually, here, there we go. That would be a good reason to maybe go for like plasma. What if, like, you know, a planet's gravity is too heavy for, well, again, if it's too heavy for like builds to work.
Rounds.
Yeah, like, you know, for lighter guns, like, you know, is a drop off just going to be too much? But if it's that bad anyway, how are you even walking about? You know what I mean? Well, I suppose, again, we kind of answered that with power sits.
It's just, I mean, it's so speculation to try and chew over, because technically everything's possible, but at the same time, you know, some things are more possible than others.
Well, it's guessing what, you know, the thing is, like, you know, people spend their entire lives guessing, oh, what's going to be the next breakthrough in military hardware, or what are we going to need for the next war, and every time everyone's fucking wrong without feel, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, what's good this war for? Oh, the quick offensive. No, the quick offensive isn't good, man. Oh, what do we need in this war? Tanks. Oh, the tanks actually aren't that good in this one. Like, you know, I suppose this war, like, you know, the current one we're got at the minute, the biggest one I would say is drones, and just because there doesn't seem to be a genuine, good, mass-produced weapon that seems to be effective against them yet. You know, that's the only thing I can say. But I think we're definitely going to see that in the next couple. I think there will be a weapon to use against these drones in the not so distant future. But again, it depends on how many are they producing. Are they a big enough threat? Is this this like a war winning, like, you know, you got a margin of error, you know what I mean? It's like, how many soldiers can we lose? 10%? We'll be alright with 10%. You know, if only 5% are like dying to this problem, you know, maybe we should be focusing on the stuff that loses maybe 30% of our men. Does that make sense? You know, it almost turns into like a numbers game after that. Like, you know, I got into an argument with someone a while back, and I don't know why he was arguing with me, because it's like pretty self-evident, but it's like, yeah, soldiers are made to be used, you know what I mean? Like, you know, soldiers, I'm sorry to say, but it's expendability when it comes to like most battlefields. Let's be serious. Like, yeah, okay, it'd be great if you didn't, but like, you know, a lot of the times is times where soldiers are put into situations where it's like, yeah, you're probably not going to make it, man, I'm sorry, you know? And I think that's more just the realities of like war, I suppose, you know, which is a bit of a shame, but like, you know, I suppose it is what it is, you know? I don't know, where do you want to go with this? Is there anything else, like, you know, so in terms of settings, like, you know, settings, I think we've already been through a lot of these problems. Like, humans are humans after all, we understand. One thing that always gets me,
which is why aliens don't talk to us,
yeah. Like, you know, one of the biggest ones is like, you know, I kind of annoys me is like, you know, people say like the whole thing with Northern Ireland, they say it's a religious thing. It's like, it's not a religious thing at all. It's just religion is the easiest identifier.
I just hate those items.
Yeah, well, it's the easiest way to identify people from that group. Does that make sense? It's more, honestly, it's more of a like a loose word per se. And then you could argue the same thing about, like, you know, there's so many different words, like, you know, oh, I can't believe you know, these people used to lead their neighbors to steal their stuff. It's like, yeah, what about the Middle East? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, oil, what? Oh, you know what I mean? Like, it's we're very good at I can't say the word. Like, we're very good at justifying our means for war.
Okay, gotcha.
Does that make sense? Like, you know, and we've done it time and time again.
We'll find a reason to hate you.
But the thing is, we're very good at that, and we can recreate it, and we can make it sound like, no, this is a completely justifiable way. Like, you know, do you not remember even like 5-6 years ago? Like, you know, people were like, oh, I can't believe, like, you know, we would ever wage war on, like, over religion. How stupid is that? How dumb is that? Am I right, guys? Am I right? ISIS, you know what I mean? It's like, we don't really need good reasons.
That'd be silly. That'd be real silly. Stares at the entire Middle East. Like,
yeah, like, you know, we've been doing it forever. I don't see like a point in, like, I think we just need it. Like, it's a very like leftist worldview. I think, like, you know, I think the problem with a lot of leftists is they ignore.
They're not anchored in reality.
Well, yeah, I think they ignore the human reality of, like, you know, like, what you're saying is great and all. Utopia sounds nice, and it'll be really nice if everyone like treated each other well, but the fact of the matter is there's corrupt politicians, bureaucracy, and X, Y, and Z that just make that impossible, you know what I mean? And I think when it comes to like future war, we've already experienced it. It'll just be in different ways per se. Like, you know, history doesn't repeat itself. It rhymes. Is that a good way to put it? It rhymes. We kind of go in like stop motion, you know?
It's more like they don't even drink their own Kool-Aid. They think we should all get together and be nice until someone thinks differently than them, and suddenly they're the fucking enemy. Like, we've all been on Twitter, all right? Like,
yeah.
You see, they love each other, understand. You see a guy wearing a red hat that says, "Man, I love trucking." It's like, these are fucking. They'll fucking lose their goddamn mind.
Yeah, no, like, I'm very free. I'm very open. Oh, by the way, if you think this, you're actually like the devil. By the way, you're actually like
you are
evil.
Hitler's bodyguard.
Yeah. My favorite one is like you know you don't need to, like, you can still have sex and be an incel. It's just how you treat women. It's like, okay, that's very interesting. Thank you for that insight. From like, you know, don't worry.
Thank you for that insight.
Thank you. Don't worry. All I need to do is change the definition of a lot of stuff. And you're racist now. You like that now? I got you. Yeah. I just cheat. Yeah, go to college. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it feels like. But that's all I would say. See, when it comes to setting, I think honestly we've had so many different types of wars. Like, you know, you could argue, like, you know, 1600s war of religion in Europe. You could go for, like, you know, the 18th and 1900s as wars of nationality and ideology, you know, wars of colonialism, like, you know, just expansion, all that sort of stuff. You know, you can really go wild with that, and you can just keep going, and I don't think there's any end for, like, stuff you could work it off of, you know what I mean? Like, you could argue maybe, like, let's legally Sumeria. Yeah, let's recreate Sumeria.
Space.
Yeah, Sumeria in space. And like, would you like it would be pretty cool though if they like, let's say, the first ever human colony in space called Sumeria, because again, it's the first ever human civilization that we know of. It wouldn't be unusual to use that. And like,
Me and you both know that humans would hold a vote and name it Big Chungus or some shit.
they fucking would. Yeah, they would. Yeah, or they would call it something like
Planet Face. Yeah.
yeah, they would do that, or they would call it something really fucking shit. Like, you couldn't call it anything cool, because then they would be, no, like, you couldn't use any Latin
Colony
words.
cuck.
Yeah, get the cock colony. Oh, no. Oh. The thing is, I would not want to be, I would definitely not be someone who would go on the colony ship, like, ever. Like, see, the idea of living on Mars, where you're living inside all the time, that's going to be a no for me, dog. The idea of just never going outside and never, like, being able to walk about or anything, that just doesn't sound very good. Like, what would you be like? Would you ever sign up for the, like, unless Earth was, like, really bad, like, unless Earth was literally, like, Wall-E, you know what I mean?
Look, like, I would happily build the ship to send those fuckers off away from me.
Yeah, okay, you will get, so would you get on the ship? How, like, at what point, like, would you have to get on the ship before you're like the Earth is just too fucked, man, I need to get out of here,
I mean, unless the world is burning, then yeah, get on the ship. Otherwise, no, just get the people off the planet. Goodbye, peoples.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good way to go about it. Anyway, so we've done settings, weaponry, that's what mostly we've been talking about. Plot, I mean, like, you can pull anything from history again. Lore, I think
literally anything. Yeah, space room if you want to do it.
It's not too bad, like, but I do like the idea of, like, recreating Sumeria in space. You know what I mean? And, like, you think about it. Okay, they use ziggurats per se, but what about, like, greenhouse ziggurats? You know what I mean? Like, where they give life and all.
All I'm hearing is you just want space ziggurats. Is all I'm hearing.
Yeah, well, like, here, ziggurats are fucking cool, man. I'll have no more said about it. Right, how far are we in? We're about 42 minutes in. Is there anything else we want to talk about? Anything else worth covering? Anything that doesn't really fit the video per se, but still, like, fits the overall arc or the subject matter?
I would prefer to see a melee space and a range space. Like, if we can have, like, melee battles in space, like, with, like, power fists and shit, I'm all for it.
What about, like, ship rammens and stuff like that? Do you think we're ever going to get that? Like,
I don't think so, because if ships ram, you're both fucking toast, dude. Because you're going to be, like, tumbling through space in an uncontrolled fucking spin, and you're going to damage modules.
What about, like, a big spike? Like, you could put a big spike on the end, like Flash Gordon tier. You know what I mean? Like,
then you have a giant ship attached to you.
Yeah, but, like, what happens if it's designed to break off? You know what I mean? Like, you say, like, you fly into them as hard as you can, and then, like, it's designed to snap. You know what I mean? It's designed, like, it's almost like your ship's turned into, like, a pilum, like, one of those, like, Roman spears that they use to, like, try and take people's shields away from them, like that type of thing. I don't know, I kind of like, yeah, pilum, I can't fucking remember the words.
Well, I guess, well, things if shields get super hardcore, you can't shoot through them, then yeah, put on the fucking space spike.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know, I like it. The thing is, see, when it comes to space, we've no idea. Like, well, again, like, what if people, like, people were talking about, like, tanks, way what tanks did, you know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure there's some, like, H.G. Wells stuff about, like, tanks, or some stuff that, like, you would think of as not far off tanks anyway, you know what I mean? I suppose, like, the idea of, like, land ships, essentially, isn't that far out, Although, what would you say, maybe, for, like, the future of tanks? Will we go there?
Grav tanks are a no-go, because that's fucking stupid. It's more than likely it's going to be the exact same thing, an infantry support platform.
Why do you think but like, ultimate maneuverability, though, would that not be a good thing?
What, for, like, grav tanks?
Yeah, like, just being able to go over any type of terrain.
It just be the fucking power requirements. Like, unless we have, like, a very efficient nuclear reactor and a propulsion system, the tanks is too fucking heavy.
Actually, a good point. Why would you bother with a grav tank when you could go for, like, a jet or a helicopter? Or something else like that.
Because tanks are used as anchors. You use tanks to anchor your position on the battlescape. Say, like, we need to hold this point. You dig in 4 tanks with infantry and you hold that point. And then use, of course, because people are like, well, you just bomb the tanks with aircraft. That's why you have counter aircraft and ground to air capabilities and
and all
radar. Like, there are ways to hold down a point even in the future. Because say you're some smug flyboy LOL 10 kilogram bomb and some dude with a fucking stinger going LOL fuck you. and it's, because like people are like, well, you use flares. Most weapons nowadays are painting the target, and the rocket goes right through, it ignores the sun, it ignores the flares. It goes, I'm going for you, homeboy. like there are ways to take out aircraft. So tanks will always have a role in anchoring a combat position and supporting infantry while moving through urban environments. That's what they always are used for. Because unless there's like other tanks you can kill, it's going to be always tanks working with infantry, working with AFVs, working with yada yada yada. It all has to work. You can't put out a tank in a forest, because we saw what happened to the fucking T-series for Russia with guys that's walking up in the fucking forest and blowing their fucking turret away. Like, it all has to work in concert.
Right.
When you need something that's heavily armored to blow through the enemy front, as well as what a tank does.
I've got one last one then, because you always love your redneck analogy and stuff like that. And again, you could argue rednecks are a product of their environment. Do you think, like, I love the idea of like catachans, or what happens if like not Superman, like the whole thing with Superman is like he's from a planet where the gravity is like super strong. Could we see that in the future? Maybe are we going to get our fighting forces from individual planets where maybe again look at Colorado for instance, people swear by that, being up and with the low oxygen and all that type of stuff, and same with Nepal and all that sort of thing. Do you think we're ever going to see planets specifically designed to bleed? Or a really good example that I love was when the Mongols invaded China, they learned pretty quickly that they had to rotate their troops in and out of China all the time, because if they let their men stay in China, they would become Chinese essentially. What part of what made the Mongols so tough was the environment they lived in. It was a really hard, horrible place to live, and that's one of the things that the Chinese always struggled with, because China's a really nice place to live. Does that make sense? I think that's a great one. And again, you could argue the same thing, with your very American cosmopolitan types, with your rough redneck types. Do you think we're ever going to see planets of where that's where we get our soldiers from? That's the perfect place. You want somewhere that's a pretty hostile environment, maybe with low oxygen, maybe with high gravity, all that sort of stuff. Could it be terraformed? Could you terraform the planet to create the ultimate soldier? You know what I mean? But again, the other thing
you could pick a planet.
But the other thing would be from that is one of the things that that's always been a give and take is the barbarian societies have always had better individual soldiers, but organized societies always have far better organization. And again, that's a problem. The organization almost makes them weak to a certain point, but it kind of overcomes to a certain point. You could look at it, for instance, they're a perfect example of they mix the warrior with the organization into a perfect balance where it just fucking work. I think that's something that I really like to think about. But again, by that point, if we have that technology to be able to pull that off, will we not just be using robotic warriors at that point? Will we have a war of the men of iron of sorts? At what point are we going to have AI inside autonomous robots?
I don't think we're stupid. Well, I like to hope or think we're not stupid enough to make a fully autonomous robot and then give it a gun. I think that'd be a bit of a bad idea in terms of the battlescape.
It might be a bad idea. That was actually this is one I found out pretty recently actually. So do not the battle droids, is it the B1 from Star Wars?
Yeah, the B1.
Yeah, they're really shit ones. There's a reason why they got stupid, because you remember Phantom Menace, they destroy the command ship and they all go bleh, apparently that's the reason why they become stupid in the rest of them, because they all have to get
they had a limited AI,
so they had to get limit, and that's why they kind of all went a bit cookie, half as smart as what they were in the other one. But again, it's because they were on their own essentially. I thought that was a really interesting one. I didn't know if that's actually lore, or if that's just because the movies were that. I don't know if that's headcanon or not, but I choose it to be true to me, because I just thought it was kind of funny, to be honest with you. To me. Yeah, well, they're all guardsman parties true to me in 40k lore, so I don't care. Honestly, see 40k, to me, half of it's just pure headcanon at this point. It's I don't even give a fuck. I talk about 40k all the time online. It's this is what's true to me, guys. I don't even give a fuck. You know what I mean? What are you going to do about it? It's if I want to believe that third edition lore is the be all and end all of 40k lore, and that's where it is, then that's what happened. Did Gulliman come back? I don't know anything about that. What about these primaries? I don't know shit about primaries, guys. I'm sorry, I just don't care about them. You know what I mean? Like, you know, to me, Armageddon's still happening. Okay, guys, I'm somewhere back then. All right, it's kind of like real life. Like, you know, my headspace is like, you know, do you not wish, kind of like the Matrix? Do you not wish it could all go back? Do you not wish it could be like 2009 again? You know, before it all happened. You know, before sun.
So for referring to your question, though, there's going to be worlds out there where it's just going to breed a harder people. And if a galactic recruiting military was like, well, we can choose a planet of soy boys and cucks off the light gravity planet, or we can choose these absolute hard boys off the planet with double the fucking gravity of Earth, and they're big, bulky motherfuckers who have strong bone and big muscle. They're going to obviously choose and probably only recruit from that world for soldiers. This is going to mean, which adds a fun dichotomy to it, because you're going to have these soldiers who will be fighting for these other weaker worlds, and they're like, why are we fighting for these motherfuckers? Like, it's going to be it's gonna be like basically humanity strikes again. We're like, why am I fighting for Cuck McSoy Boy over here on this fucking paradise planet?
Well,
and I'm like,
Gulman's all over again with the barbarians.
Yeah,
like, literally that's what we're going for. And again, that's what I love about it, because it always just seems to repeat. And the problem is, history takes too long, and we end up forgetting a lot of the lessons from that. You know, a perfect example, like, you know, that we still have today at least, but how long will we have it? Is, I know the quote's overused, but like, you know, ask a man to walk a tightrope for 5 minutes, no issue. Ask a man to walk a tightrope for like 500 years, you're fucked, man. And that's kind of like what our weapons are, essentially. You know, we've been walking the tightrope for a long time now. At what point will we forget how bad these are? You know what I mean? Like, you know, a good example would be, think of Napoleon. So before Hitler, Napoleon was literally Hitler before Hitler. Does that make sense? That's the way he was viewed. You know what I mean?
The
like,
big bad, yeah.
Yeah, he was the big bad, like, you know, of the Western world, and that's kind of, oh, you don't want another Hitler, you don't want another Napoleon, and that's kind of what you got. We kind of forget about that with Hitler, or even you could use another one. Let's use a perfect example, Genghis Khan. A lot of people praise Genghis Khan for creating the modern world, which I would argue he probably did create the modern world, indirectly, of course, but he did create the modern world. But he was also a very horrible human being. He did a lot of things, and, like, you know, we've kind of forgotten about that. Are we going to do the same thing with a lot of our weapons technology? You know, especially with nuclear weapons, are we even capable of remembering such things? And the other big problem is, I think we forget who we are a lot of the time. We forget how animalistic we are as humans, and we're very good at rationalizing information and being like, well, you know, we're not like that anymore, because we got high speed fiber optic internet. We ain't like that no more, guys. We're completely different, even though we're not different whatsoever. We just like to think of ourselves as far more advanced. This is one thing that I've gotten a lot of people don't believe me on this one, but I'm convinced of it. I'm convinced that the average caveman was smarter than the average human being today. Now, I don't mean that in the sense of did they know algebra? Of course not. But was the average caveman independently, like, you know, was he more in tune to his environment? Was he more capable? Was he, like, you know, he didn't have any support for the most part? You know what I mean? What do you think about that? Am I way out there in saying like the average caveman is smarter than the average man today? I
have a hard street smarts for sure. Yeah,
I've got a very hard time explaining myself in that point, and I know I'm not explaining very well. And a lot of people are like, James, shut the fuck up. That's ridiculous. It's like, no, but I've got a point, but I just don't know how to explain my point better. Does that make sense? I don't know. It's one that I like to think about quite a bit. But anyway, I think this is where we're gonna wrap up. I think I liked it. Like, I enjoy talking about this sort of stuff. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, bored. Like, here, if you don't like, well, like, you know, like the idea of what will the army look like in the future? I don't know, man. You're just not going to make it. You need to get yourself some warlord qualities about yourself, you know. You know, that's all I can say. But I don't know. I love this sort of stuff. Well, okay, ideal. Like, Gerb would give it to me. What would your ideal loadout be then, if you could have anything you want? I don't know, but I'm getting a jetpack. Actually, you know what? I'm not getting a jetpack. I'm getting a teleportator. I'm getting shadow step. That's what I want. I want to be able to teleport behind people and be like, nothing personal, kids. That's.
I don't want to be judged when I say this. All right, I don't want any judgment on me. I want a full ass Mandalorian helmet.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
Okay. Because goddamn, bro.
Yeah, that would be pretty vulgar, not gonna lie. Like, the only thing is that gets me is like the Mandalorian. Like, how does the armor actually work? Because like, it doesn't like cover that much. You know what I mean? Like, it's never like, I don't know. That's one of the things that gets me about them. It's like, yeah, armor. It's like this, it's like that. But it's like, yeah, it doesn't like cover your.
It's kind of written poorly in the movies.
Yeah,
like,
it's kind of patchy, man. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, like they should be wearing more segmented armor, what they are, and it should be larger than what it is. Like, mind you, the armor they're wearing is more or less the space of what a plate would cover in the body. The armor is more or less covering the vitals, such as the lungs and the heart. So it is going to do its purpose. That and underneath their armor, they have this fucking wear that helps mitigate blaster shit. But for the most part, the armor is there to cover up the vitals and make sure they can survive. Because you got people like just shrugging off grievous wounds in Star Wars because like you got Bacta, you have all the side implants. So as long as your brain, your heart, and your lungs survive, you can just get a new fucking stomach.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
You can go get a fucking robot leg. Yeah. So for the most part, when you logic it out, they're wearing plate and they're wearing space plate and a space gambeson. That's what they're wearing, bless. So they are wearing a full armor suite, and also their helmet is more or less their combat suite. You have your fucking rangefinder, you have your fucking all your little doodads that tell you what you need to know. And like, if I could have a fucking just a helmet, I'd be unfucking stoppable at nighttime warfare. All right.
Yeah.
I would be the fucking boogeyman here on Earth if I had a single goddamn Mandalorian helmet.
That's all Carboody said, because not even the full set, just go for the helmet. I'm trying to think.
Give Daddy the helmet.
yeah. I don't know. I still want the teleporter just to be like nothing personal, kid, or just give me like
I am TT Macaroni teleports.
Yeah, exactly. I want to. What was that guy from X-Men? You know, the guy that did the teleporting. I just want that.
Oh yeah, he had like
German. He had like the tail and stuff. He was like a demon.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah. Just give me that. Like, I don't know how that's ever going to happen. I also, part of me thinks like, see, when it comes to like teleportation, does that mean like, is it going to be like, what was that movie? It was the Christopher Nolan movie, Magician, not the Magician. Oh fuck, man.
The one in space?
No, that was Interstellar. It was Hugh Jackman.
Huge jacked man. It's like your usual Google search.
Magician. The Prestige. It was.
Prestige.
Yeah. Prestige. Is it going to be like, are you recreating your body over and over again? Are you the same person? Like, you know, after being dematerialized, or what about running the chances of like Harry Potter like getting spray? You know, for instance,
Harry Potter.
You know, the thing is, like Megan keeps trying to get me to play Hogwarts Legacy, but I just don't have the time to play it. But it does actually look pretty cool, not gonna lie. You know, the thing is, I've got to that point where Harry Potter, that I loved Harry Potter as a child. It was my favorite book, so it came out for the perfect time for me. You know what I mean? Like, it was super big whenever I was a child, you know, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was the first time I had ever read a book and then went to go see the movies and been so let down that I never really fevered after that. You know what I mean? Like, I never finished the movies, so I didn't. And I don't know, there's part of me thinking, it's like, you know what, will I give it another try? Will I go and read the books again? But then I think about it to myself, it's like, I don't know, man. You probably be better off just leave for something, to be honest with you.
Just get the audiobook and call it a day, bro. No point.
Yeah, I think I might just do that again, because I honestly loved. They were so good. Like, they were definitely my favorite books. Between that and his Dark Materials, by Phil Pullman, I love them ones. And the other big one would have been Colfer. What do you call him? Owen Colfer. Artemis Fowl series, that was very good as well. But I never finished that one either. Come to think of it. Oh, actually no, I finished Harry Potter. I never finished the Owen Colfer.
So high key, I've read all the Artemis Fowl books like 6 times in a row now.
The last one I read was the Time Paradox, the one with the Goblin.
Yeah, so you're like 3 books behind still.
Oh, right, okay. Are they any good? Are they worth continuing?
They're good, yeah.
Are they?
The ending, I would put it's like a fucking eel there. My fucking brain's a piece of shit, dude. Holy crap! But I hate when I go to say a word, my brain goes, you know what? Say that 4 times. Why? Because fuck you. That's why.
You just got.
But I've got 3 TBIs. Comment section. Don't pick on me. But the ending of the last book, I think, could have been a bit different and a bit better, in my opinion. It kind of left me feeling unfulfilled, but I can see why he wanted that ending of the book. Yeah. But you know, like.
Okay, what was your favorite one then? For me, it was the Eternity Code.
Oh, the Eternity Code. That's the one where he has the little box that he made that like can like script the face satellites.
Wait, yeah, it was the one where he sells it to the American fella, and they've got the
He's fucking prick the entire book.
Yeah, he sells it to the American that always wears white with yellow teeth, isn't it? Or does he have? I can't remember now. And then the Australian bodyguard, I loved him, so he was a great one as well.
Oh yeah.
You know,
there's one where he has like where the guy named Loafers who's like trying to kill him, or like
he was Loafers. Loafers, and what was it about him? There was something.
Mulch Diggums like trolling him the entire time too.
Yes, oh fuck,
little dwarf.
Yeah, you know what? They actually did a pretty good one with dwarves. I thought that was interesting the way they played dwarves, like being tunnelers and stuff like that.
The way they shat out fucking
fucking
dirt.
Yeah,
they would unbutton their They say they would unbutton their fucking butt flap and spew out clay.
I always wondered how it would look though, the way they said they could unhinge their mouths.
They unhinge their jaw.
Yeah, I always wondered. I always had a hard time imagining how that actually worked.
I didn't. I was like, I got you.
Yeah, but no, it was
more or
pretty
less.
good.
The Adventures of Holly Short are probably my favorite ones, where they go to Holly and she's doing her fucking leprechaun shit. And I was
I don't know, it was really good. Anyway, look, that's where we're gonna love you and leave you guys. Magnets, it was magnets. Yeah, it was part of the helmet where they use they use magnets to like put it all together. I don't know, I can't remember.
The phases.
Yeah, I can't remember now. It was
enjoy the warp, kid.
Yeah. Anyway, look, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I don't know where we're going with this. This is the type of thing you can go on. Space. I'm like, this is how humans behave. You know, like, come on, look, we're dealing with humans. We kind of like. I would like to think that we understand humans at this point, but we probably don't. We know fuck all about humans, but we know how they act.
There is a truth to humans that most folks don't want to acknowledge, and that truth is we're all fucking assholes.
Yeah, we're pretty much.
That's why aliens don't want to talk to us. Like, they're either going to try and fight us or fuck us. We can't go on that planet.
Yeah, it's kind of like if there was one animal, what animal would you not want to be dumped in at this? For me, it's chimpanzees. I'm not being dumped in chimpanzees. I would take almost any other animal than chimpanzee. Like, what would you?
I mean, they do tear off your genitals first for to eat your face.
Yeah,
off, so kind of a loss.
For me, I would take orangutans and gorillas any day over chimpanzees.
Orangutans are chill jungle wizards.
Yeah,
right?
they
we
are.
all know this.
I would take them so much over that. I like same with there's this one gorilla at W, and he terrifies me. I mean, like, he's absolutely gigantic, and he sits at this island and he just like stares people, and he's got bloodshot red eyes, and he fucking terrifying. Like, there's just
shot red eyes.
Yeah, they are. They're just straight up bloodshot as fuck, and he just stares at you. You know what I mean? Like, he actually is terrifying. Like, I don't know. There's not many other animals that I've looked at. And
you heard it here, guys. James afraid of a large muscled African fella.
Fuck off. You'd be scared of this gorilla too. You need to see him, man. He's a terrifying beast, and if you're not terrified of him, I don't know.
Fucking unit.
Yeah. You know what animal that doesn't scare me? That I feel like it should, but it just doesn't. Lions just don't scare me. I think they're just like big cats. Tigers, on the other hand, tigers fuck you up, but like lions, I feel like you handle them, or you know what I mean? Like, you know, if you know how to handle cats, you probably should be okay with lions. You know what I mean?
You should be fine.
You should be fine. Possibly. I mean, like, yeah, they're probably gonna fuck you up, but like, you know, I don't think they're gonna fuck you up that badly. Whereas, like, you know, tigers will definitely snap your spine pretty quickly.
Apparently, cheetahs are pretty chill.
Yeah, I've heard that. Apparently, cheetahs are actually pretty chill. There's a lot of animals that you would think that would really fuck you up that just are pretty chill. Like, bears are one of the best examples of that. Where, yeah, they're pretty chill. Just don't be around them whenever they're hungry. You know what I mean?
You will not ever get me around a bear. No fucking way.
That's, you know what? That's Megan's like toxic tweet where she honestly does think she could go up to a bear and pet it. It's like, no, Megan, don't be fucking silly. It's like, no.
I watched live a grizzly bear run down and behead a fucking deer. Fuck.
Yeah,
that.
Yeah. Well, grizzly bears and polar bears are just a no-go. You know what I mean? Let's be serious. Okay.
Like we were like, dude, what is that sound? And we see this bear chasing this deer, just bolt out of the fucking tree line, and with us, like, his hand did something, and that fucking deer's head went bloop, I was like, what the fuck?
Okay, best way to finish it off. What would be the ultimate alien species to come in contact with that is just a fuck that? I am not done with that. You know what I mean? And I think one of them, they need to have the eyes need to be there, because I think if you have eyes...
No answer you give will stop me.
Yeah, of course, I should have asked that. You know what? I shouldn't have bothered asking you, Garb. Forget about the question altogether. Just fucking forget about it, because I already know what you're going to say. Like, all I'm saying is, I think, like, if we're going to have aliens, I think give them human-like eyes, or eyes that are... Don't give them insect eyes, because they convey no
and
emotion.
Abs.
Okay. Right, okay, look, we'll just end the video here.
Abs and breathable hips.
Yeah, alright, okay. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you have an idea of what the most terrifying alien would be, and not fuckable, okay? It has to not be a fuckable alien, guys. Okay, you can make it fuckable.
Impossible!
You can make it fuckable if you really want, but it still needs to have that unnerve factor to it. You know what I mean? It needs to have that, like...
If I put on a blindfold, nothing can stop me.
Yeah. Okay, right, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know what you think down below, and tell us why we're fucking retards and we don't know what we're talking about, even though this is all hypothetical and no one actually knows anything of what we're talking about. And let's be serious, the people in charge of the army don't even know what the fuck's going to happen in the next fucking 2 years, let alone 200. You know what I mean? So anyway, hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll see you next time.